The wheel of the 6. He has 36 career wins, 6 of which coming here at Talladega, but only 1 in the car that he owns back at Darlington last year. So Brad Keselowski looking to take RFK back to victory lane as driver-owner.
I like the look of Ty Gibbs today. He's been featured at the front. He led 32 laps here earlier in the year in April, and he did finish in the top 10 at Daytona at the last drafting track. So we'll see if this is the day that this young man gets his first Cup victory.
And this is an opportunity race, so I'm going to go back to Todd Gilliland. He was running in the top 10 just a few laps ago, 25 years old, a third-generation driver from Front Row Motorsports. This arguably is his best racetrack, 3 top 10s here. Can he get himself in position to win this race?
And while we're talking about different winners, there have been 10 different winners in the last 10 races here at Talladega. Does that trend continue? How about Christopher Bell up on that third lane? I don't think we've spoken enough about the driver of the DeWalt number 20 today, but he is there and he is in the mix. And points as they run, heading to Martinsville. He sits third at the moment. Tell us more, Kim.
Yeah, and Lee, he said this weekend will be a big turning point in terms of the whole game of the playoffs, points, fluctuations, etc. And the only way he will feel comfortable going to Martinsville is if he wins here at Talladega. He said there's nothing safe about where we are points-wise, even though they are currently, as they run, plus 24. Could easily get knocked out if he's in that bottom spot with 2 new winners each week. So he said, do not expect me to be timid here in the closing laps of this race.
Martinsville was where his championship run came to an end last year. He does not want that to happen again. And a win today can confirm his spot in Phoenix.
He talked so much about not leaving it to chance, right? Yeah. Not having to go to Martinsville in the position to having to have a great finish. And today could go a long way toward that. 7 points earned today.
88 up high. Shane Van Gisbergen back in the mix. Tell us more, Dylan.
Yeah, and you guys mentioned the spin he had earlier on the comeback trail. Now, talked to him earlier, and he said, there's not a lot that translates from the other oval successes that we've had recently to here, but the biggest thing is the confidence to push the car to the limits, even understanding where the limit is. Plus, now he's starting to see some of these racetracks multiple times at the Cup Series, 4 times in the drafting tracks here at the end of the Cup season. So all of that is starting to pay off, and it's a really good recovery for the 88 today.
How about the Trackhouse teammates? He's side by side with Ross Chastain, and he's being followed and pushed by Daniel Suarez.
I love that shot as they head right at you down the backstretch. It shows you just how, you think they're locked in and running a straight line, but they kind of dance at you. There's a little bit of movement and energy amongst the entire field. You get the same look off turn 4, these little short shoots. And then, Jeff, the tri-oval, not only is it perhaps the toughest because it's a corner without a lot of vertical loading, but it goes from 3 lanes to 4, back to 3.
Yarby's forward as he's ended up spinning in his own oil.
Yeah, he came by in the front stretch very, very, very slow. We weren't sure he was going to get back around even from that. The engine sounded like it had expired on the 51. And then with him spinning on the apron at 1 and 2, it was a required caution instantly from NASCAR. And this will put the entire field the game plan now is very clear. Everybody will be to pit road. Now, what you do on pit road, I'm not sure is crystal clear. Like Joey Logano's going to need a little more fuel than, say, Todd Gilliland or Ryan Blaney. But do you feel your driver needs tires if the pushing and shoving gets too much? And with 27 cars in the lead lap and differing strategies, very important for clear communication. It's going to be very easy to run into somebody coming or going who's on a different plan than you.
You're going to get under the hood, right? Fix that, yeah, for sure.
Under the hood, so it sounds like the 11's going to be doing some more work than that, Kim.
Yeah, Hamlin reporting the throttle is stuck, and the crew chief did look at the SMT data and said it looks like it's 20% stuck. Some frustration from Denny just about kind of the nature of their cars and not being able to get them where they need to be, but throttle issue for Hamlin.
Better this week than last.
Yeah, but he wrecked one at Martinsville with a stuck throttle, a piece of rubber once. I mean, that's something that, as a race car driver, and as a crew chief, that's my number one responsibility is to make sure the driver has all his controls. Let's listen into the 11.
I don't know what to do. If I'm pushing the clutch in, it just goes the peg? All I know is just turn the motor off and then work it. That's the whole thing I can tell you. Okay. This is f***ing unbelievable. Why can't we keep our cars together?
I understand his frustration. You know, I know the win last week is what they were looking for. It was a big emotional day for Denny. It was a great day for this team because now we're on to the championship 4. But you know, at this point, we don't know exactly what's wrong. But you hear the frustration in Denny's voice. You know that mechanically he feels this is something that shouldn't be happening to the 11. And look, it's mistakes. I mean, I agree with Denny. I also empathize with Chris Gale, right? I mean, he doesn't work. He has to manage this situation. I guarantee Toyota and Joe Gibbs Racing are going to take a hard look at it, but real frustration from the driver.
Yeah, and look, what Denny Hamlin is thinking about is here in a couple weeks, you're going to be in position to win a championship, and you cannot have these types of issues.
Let's relive that magical weekend a week ago for Denny Hamlin.